I'm here with Jacob Lorsong, who is an EMT with St. Mary's EMS based in Detroit Lakes. How are you today?
I'm good, and how are you?
I'm alright. I've just got a couple questions for you regarding mostly mental health patients. So, should we jump in?
Yep, go ahead.
Alright. How often and in what ways do you come in contact with people who have mental health diagnoses?
Um, very rarely in this area. I mean, we still do, but I think about 10% of our calls have to deal with this kind of stuff. So, I mean, as everywhere else, you're gonna get it, but here we're smaller towns, so it's rare.
Alright. And, did you receive any kind of education or training on mental health disorders?
Very little. I mean, you get a little bit when you go through like the EMT class. It covers it in your EMT book. Other than that, I haven't really received anything else on it. They have seminars and conferences and additional trainings out there for it, but as of right now, I haven't really received any more. I'd love to, though.
Alright, so, you said you would like more. Do you wish it was like kind of a required thing to have?
Not necessarily. I mean, I highly recommended. At least highly recommended would help. I mean, if they were made a requirement, I wouldn't be against it. So,
Yeah, because, even if it's rare in a sense, it should still be something that should be taught.
yeah, I mean, we're getting a little bit nowadays. It's showing up more and more. So, I mean, additional training, as much training as we can get would help, so.
Okay. And, what two disorders do you wish you knew more about and why?
The autism and PTSD, around here is mostly got a nursing home, retirement home type of place. And so a lot of our old war vets are here. They have, some of them have, actually a lot of them, well, I would think have PTSD that affects some. And nowadays we're getting the guys coming back from war, or anybody from a lot of traumatic events, we're seeing more and more nowadays with PTSD. So it'd be kind of nice to learn some ways to deal with that effectively and safely. So, and then the other one, autism, that one we're seeing too in 911 calls and their facility transport. So that would be nice to see, especially how to calm down some of those patients and communicate with them effectively would help.
Is there any specific type of premise that would cause you guys to be called out to them, or is it just like your typical broken limb or just hurt?
They could be hurt. It could also be if they're, say, family member notices that they're acting out of the ordinary for their mental status, or they're hurt, they're sick, something like that. There's a couple of types of reasons we can get called out to do them and to help with them, and it could be a simple thing as they've gotten aggravated and law enforcement has requested on scene in case something happens, and we try and help calm them down or something. So
Okay, so they can sometimes be violent. Is it like, are they more often than not violent, or are they fairly complacent in just doing what you guys are there to do?
I haven't really seen them. I haven't seen actually very many. I've seen maybe one or two kind of get violent with us. Most times they get confused and a little bit aggravated because they either don't understand us or we don't understand them. So very rarely if I know of, do they get violent. So.
Okay, and when it comes to PTSD patients, do you more see like more elderly cases of that? more cases involving elderly people, or is it some of the young guys too who are just coming back?
I see a lot more around here with elderly. So far I haven't dealt with some of the younger guys coming in or getting out of the military, so there's a lot around here. It's a lot of the older guys, and fortunately this is kind of something I don't know how good to say. Fortunately they're kind of old and frail, so if they hit you it doesn't really hurt. So,
Okay. So you think like Alzheimer's could be a part of like what's triggering their PTSD, or what do you think?
yeah, I can be a lot into it. I mean, I've dealt with a patient. I had one guy, he had Alzheimer's, but also had PTSD in there too, so he would forget who you are and forget what you're there for. But then he'd also forget where he was and what was going on, so he'd think he's back in the war and anything else, so.
Okay, yeah. I had a great grandpa who was in World War II, and he started developing Alzheimer's around 90, 92-ish. And he was living with my great aunt at the time, and he would start like screaming at them in German whenever he would have really bad episodes.
Yeah, I mean, we had a guy, he would have episodes and he'd sit there and think we're still in the war, fight with us, and just try to do whatever he could to get away, because sometimes he thought he was a POW or something, so.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing to deal with, you know. I couldn't imagine having to fight with somebody who thinks they're in a totally different time period.
Yeah, it's difficult, you know, they don't mean it, you don't want to hurt them, but I mean,
Of course.
again, too, you gotta kind of protect yourself, so.
Yeah. And so next question is why did you become an EMT?
I grew up in the EMS and fire world of it. I like the aspect of helping people. I like to know what to do in an intense situation. I do like being the guy that people turn to in a intense situation when something goes wrong, so. Mainly is to help people, so.
Alright, cool. Next question, what was your greatest challenge in getting to where you are now?
I think a lot of it was kind of the testing, national testing that we do. I mean, there's a lot to remember on there. A lot that you need to do. Make sure you do it the right way so you don't end up like killing somebody or something like that, so.
Oh, drastic.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, totally. Because of course, I'm only going through EMR training, so I can't really do much. I can only do like a fraction of what you guys are allowed to do. So I couldn't imagine, I mean, like.
There's those 3 different levels, you know, you got the EMR, EMT, paramedic, and all of them have different trainings. All of them, like medic training is a lot different, a lot more to remember than EMT, so.
Yeah, like I can't even really do anything. I cannot administer anything. Maybe Narcan. I know DL lets you do that, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, DL lets you do it, though.
Alright, and last question here is, if you could change one thing in your field, what would it be?
It would, let's see, definitely be mental health training stuff. So I've mentioned before, nowadays we don't really get a whole lot of the training to deal with mental health patients. So it'd be nice to really get more of that into this profession, I guess I could say. A lot more different techniques to deal with aggressive mental health patients, or calm them down, make sure they understand you, stuff like that, so.
Alright, yeah. Well, I believe that's about it. That's all the questions I got for you. Do you got anything for me?
Nope.
Alright. Well, thank you for your time. I enjoyed this interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, alright, you have a nice night.